Unintentionally, the edibles business became even bigger than selling flour. We were able to start a brand, and back at then, edibles didn't have any sort of standard unit of measurement, right? So you go into a dispensary and it's like, how strong is this chocolate bar? It's 10 skull and crossbones, or this root beer is 5x strength. It's like, what's X? I don't know. Good luck. And so, out of self-interest, we started a trade association for edibles manufacturers, right? Because otherwise, the way people would judge whether or not they're going to carry my product would be, you see that guy in the corner that's 400 pounds, we're going to give him one of your brownies. And if he feels it, we'll buy from you, And sometimes this guy is like smoking a blunt and he's like eating the brownie. He's like, I don't think it's working, man. You're smoking a blunt. Is that not working either? So we went in an objective way of saying, this is how much THC is in these things. And, maybe not every one of your customers is, Mikey from Life Cereal that, has a legendary tolerance. So we started this trade association, got all the biggest edibles manufacturers in the state together, and we all agreed we'll test every batch of edibles and put the milligrams of THC on the packaging so people can have a more predictable, repeatable experience. If anybody took edibles ever before, you've probably had that experience where you take one, you're like, man, this guy ripped me off. I don't think it's working. I better take 2 or 3 more. And then by that time, it's too late. You can't return your edibles at that point, and they hit you. It's way too strong. So my whole career has been, if you want to legitimize plant medicine and call it medicine, it has to be predictable, repeatable, just like medicine. If you take an aspirin, your headache goes away one time, and you take an aspirin another time and you're hallucinating your dead grandmother, then you can't really call it medicine.
Thank you, Robert. Shane, would you give us a soft introduction as to where you're coming from and your day-to-day mission and how it relates to the magic mushroom?
Yeah, I'm coming out of Southern California, down at Palomar Mountain on the La Jolla Indian Reservation, and like I said, Church of the People for Creator Mother Earth. We're a religious nonprofit. We helping to preserve our ways, Liseño people, the Peo-Maquichian ways, or people of the West, and also providing free access for people who don't have, all the money or resources to pay for expensive retreats or different programs that organizations are putting out there, etc. And also a member of Decriminalized Nature. And yeah, basically what I'm trying to, bring to the table in short with what I do with traditional earth-based ceremonies is, like I said, providing the free access, because like I said, I don't think people need to be charged outrageous prices or have to go through the meat grinder of something that somebody's just putting together on paper and not really knowing the steps of truly being connected to the earth, or coming from traditional backgrounds that specialize in helping human beings better themselves from the earth up. And so yeah, basically that's what my goal is to do. Being here is just to open up my space for people who want to learn, and people who want to understand that you don't have to pay thousands of dollars, even hundreds of dollars, to help yourself or reconnect yourself to what is yours as a human being. Your right to connect mentally, spiritually, and physically to this earth. And so yeah.
Thank you very much. So an abstract question that I can let you use your imagination and talent to address. What are we talking about when we're talking about magic mushrooms? What in your opinion, and just what comes to mind? When I say magic mushroom, what comes to mind for you, Oliver, when I say magic mushroom?
I'd say psilocybe cubensis is the most common one, but there's so many magic mushrooms. They're all magical.
What's the connotation for you? Because we talk a lot about healing, holistic wellness. We talk about trauma. We talk about ceremony. We talk about sacredness. Magic has its own connotation. So what's the charge to the term magic for you?
So magic is what we perceive magic to be. So people think magic is something that's unbelievable. So I think something that you can't believe, which I couldn't believe, like I told you, and then when you believe it, and then that's probably why they call them magic mushrooms.
Because it has that ability to actually change your impression, change your opinion. It has a sweeping effect. Shane, when you hear the term magic, what does magic conjure up for you? Because I think we use that term pretty liberally. We talk about magic mushrooms. That's the first thing that rolls off our lips. But it's a giant concept, right? And I think it's a concept that has a lot of stigma attached to it as well. Magic to some can sound reverential. Magic to others can sound flippant or trite, right? So when you think of, do you think magic mushroom is even a term that you like to use, Shane? Or do you think it's not a non-issue? What does that term bring to mind for you?
It's not really an issue. I would just say, magic would be basically just a catalyst, like I said, the catalyst to the truth of the unseen. That's what I'd say. The magic is the catalyst to the truth of the unseen.
Robert, do you think that psilocybin mushrooms in particular are more magic than pot, or more magic than weed, or more magic, or a different kind of magic? How does that magic compare to the magic of the experience of cannabis in your experience?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you smoke enough pot, you might be able to have the interdimensional experiences that mushrooms can offer. But I mean, it's a portal to another world that I think is all around us at all times. So yeah, the power of mushrooms is certainly a next level compared to cannabis. But I mean, I find them magical a lot because of the mycelial network that is like below our feet. Any square foot of Earth, there is like millions of miles of mycelium, and they're about like as thin as your blood veins. Extremely small, and they have so much wisdom and information that they can pass through the ecosystem of a forest, sharing nutrients, information. And I think that that's really what we're tapping into when we're eating the psilocybin mushrooms. There's history going back 6,000 years of cave paintings in the Saharan desert that would suggest that people have been eating these magic mushrooms, and that's just when they were writing it down. So I think that is what psilocybin mushrooms gives us the access to, is all this wisdom that's in the genetics, the DNA of the mushroom, and it's there for humans to experience and tap into. So yeah, it's a little more intense than smoking a joint.
People are using mushrooms in a variety of different ways. They can be microdosed, they can be macrodosed, they can be used ceremonially in a group, they can be used by yourself if you go out and you have your own experience. Let's talk about settings for psilocybin use. I know, Shane, you've established a church. That is an actual entity that you've had to do some work on the legal side with, and that allows you a certain amount of flexibility or license, if you will. So I think it's fascinating. I don't know how many people in the room right now have experience with psychedelic churches, but it's a model that's, I think it's a very interesting model in our world of relatability to legislature and to prosecution and to just the whole question of legality. So I know there's so many interesting facets to where you're coming from, but let's address the church in particular, if you would, Shane.
Yeah, so, one of the main reasons I started the church, first of all, was to bridge the gap between, what happened between the Native Americans and the mission system. Because I always tell people, before the American government, before anybody, like I said, we built the missions all the way up NorCal, all the way down south, and it was forced upon us. And in that forced assimilation, they erased a lot of our true connection, our history, our understandings of the earth. And so it's really good, like I said, to now bridge that gap, to show people, like, we're still doing our old ways, and you were wrong, and it's okay to be wrong, because we don't know everything. I don't know everything. They don't know everything. So it's good now to bridge that gap to say, like, if you want to communicate about God, or the higher power, well, here we are. Here we are still today. Here we are still standing, and here we are still using our traditional ways that you disregarded as bad, negative, demon, witchcraft. You can say it all, but it's like, here I am now using those ways to help all of God's children find their way back to the earth and reconnect themselves back to their God-given right to this earth, to their consciousness, to their body, their mind. And so like I said, I think it's really huge to bring that, because a lot of people will talk about, sacredness and this and that, and then they have speakers, playing all these different types of tunes and these different things. And like I said, I'm not saying it's good or bad, but where I come from, like I said, the fire, the frequency emits, the land itself, like I said, there's certain frequencies that those things could emit that a speaker could never emit. You know, something that your DNA is already naturally attuned to. Like I was saying in the call, every human being, no matter what race you are before the electrical age, you had a fire. You know, every human being can relate to a fire. And so, like I said, to re-spark that in a human and to give a human back that opportunity to reconnect and establish their roots of being human, I think that's big, and I think people need that more often, and they need to see what it really means to be like earth-based and being earth, coexisted with the earth, and not just saying, oh, you know, the earth is our mother and this and that, but going beyond, like, you know, knowing that these are actually people, beings, you know, things that help us on a daily and that give us the access to our life, such as our water, our air, the ability to walk, you know, get healthy from certain plants, whatever it may be. But yeah, I think people need to take a look on the real role of sacredness and being really connected, because at my church, we're really connected down to the earth. You know, we're not at no 5-star amenities. We're not doing this. We're not doing that. You know, we're not sitting on this little wood hut. It's like we're on the mother. You know, that has been taking care of humans way beyond the psychedelic movement. And so that's where I think people need to take a look at that and see that outside of the clinical, you know, synthetic models, which are good, you know, in their ways too. But I know a lot of people out there would benefit off natural settings and traditional ceremonies.
But it's not only the setting, is it? It's not only the place you're doing it, but you have to have someone like yourself. You have to have a human being celebrant or guide or partner or facilitator. How do you continue to find the mental and spiritual fortitude to hold space? For some people get really triggered by that term. I don't have a problem with it. I like the term. But to be with someone as they're having a purposeful, intentional psychedelic experience, how do you continue to have the energy to do that? Because I'm assuming you do it on a fairly regular basis.
Yeah, like I said, I've worked from your average Joe to Special Force to UFC vets, NFL, you name it, you know, many walks of life of people, and hearing different people's struggles and pains and traumas, you know, and then being myself a Native man, coming from my own personal traumas, but also understanding my generational trauma and understanding our whole role within America and what we went through. And, you know, like I always say, being isolated, being alone, getting the dirt kicked on you, no one giving a damn about you, people utilizing you, people, whatever it may be, whatever someone's got to say, you know, that's what I look at, because I look at my ancestors and how my ancestors have persevered through so much turmoil on this land that I don't think anyone could fathom in this.